You're looking at a Mars man extraordinaire. This man's on a shuttle. He's already headed to Mars. I've already talked to him on the phone. I said, Drake, safe travels, young man, and we sent him.
He's on a shuttle to Mars. Mars man. Loads
Look at him.
And spinning aimlessly. In
Look at him.
space.
You might be saying to yourself, Smitty, this guy didn't deliver last year. We loved him last year. What has changed? Everything has changed. So much so I'm calling an emergency live stream, a Marsman live stream, the Fantasy Football Show. Graveyard Edition begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
Live whenever news breaks, live to break Mars men, Saturn men, Moon men, doing it live. And this man right here, Mars man extraordinaire, Drake London, was a Moon man graduate from last year. He kind of failed Moon Man School. It wasn't his fault, but he failed. We failed. We failed Drake London. Let's be honest. Let's not blame Drake London. Let's blame ourselves because Arthur Smith failed us, and we should have seen that coming. But Drake London is a man that is going to absolutely, I believe, explode going forward because of a lot of different reasons. We've talked about the coaching carousel and tracker all month long. And we're really at the point now where we know what we're dealing with. We don't have any ambiguity. We have Zach Robinson as the OC in Atlanta. We have Raheem Morris, a defensive mind from LA. They're both from the Rams. They're both bringing that Rams mentality. This is a Rams staff. This is everybody but McVay coming over to now become the Atlanta Rams. So we have not only Bijan Robinson becoming Zach Robinson's, the OC, new OC in Atlanta, his new Kyron. But we also have Drake London potentially playing somewhat of a Puka Nacua role for Zach Robinson. That's his guy. This is going to be the QB coordinator turned offensive coordinator, Zach Robinson, his main target. Look what he did with Puka Nacua. Can you tell me how many times defenses shut down Puka Nacua by double teaming him? Can anybody come in here and tell me why I should be afraid of Drake London being contained if this man brings in, if he brings in the right quarterback? And you could say that's the problem, Smitty, but I would tell you Zach Robinson wouldn't have accepted the job if Zach Robinson didn't feel like this was the environment to come in clean house in terms of the quarterback approach and say, I'll determine who my quarterback is. I'll bring the guy in I want. I don't want to go anywhere else. He interviewed with Pittsburgh or was going to. I don't even know if he completed the whole interview. He was going to go to Pittsburgh. Why? So he could be handed Kenny Pickett? He wanted to go somewhere to coach with this boy, Raheem Morris, now head coach, defensive coordinator last year in LA. He wanted to, Zach Robinson, offensive coordinator in Atlanta, head over to Atlanta and coach with his boy. He wanted an offense that had a Kyron Williams. His name's Bijan Robinson. Zach Robinson wanted an offense that had a Puka Nacua. His name is Drake London. This guy wanted a tight end that the Rams didn't have. That guy's name is Kyle Pitts. The only thing Zach Robinson, new offensive coordinator, monster, genius in the making, doesn't have as a quarterback, and he's got the number 8 pick to get it done. Whether it's trade it for Justin Fields, whether it's draft Penix Jr. and surprise everybody, whether it's trade up and get Drake May. Maybe they do something else with it. Maybe they get Russell Wilson if Denver cuts Russell Wilson. Maybe they trade for Russell Wilson, make Denver eat some of that contract, and still keep number 8. Maybe they draft Neighbors or somebody else, Adunze, with this number 8 pick. We don't know what this man, Zach Robinson, is trying to cook up and concoct for 2024. We do know there are also some free agent wide receivers that he could potentially bring into the fold and say, guess what? I need another Cooper Kupp to go with my Puka Nacua. I need somebody to pair next to my boy, my new Puka Nacua, Drake London. Drake London comes out of a somewhat disappointing year 1 and year 2 in Atlanta under the command of very bad Arthur Smith, horrible coach, and this guy still had pretty salvageable numbers when you look at it, considering he never got the football consistently. 69, 905 and 2, 72, 866 and 4. Nothing to cry home about, nothing to write home about, nothing to get excited about, but it is a player that it doesn't matter what he's done statistically. We know the handcuffs were on him. We know what he's capable of doing. And I should say this. There are very few wide receivers in the National Football League that I feel have the ability to be 100-yard receivers more often than this guy. Like, there are a handful, sure, but this is the kind of guy that gets you multiple, at least 2 170-yard games, or 100, we'll call it 150, multiple 150-yard receiving games in given seasons. He's a monster. We just don't know what he's capable of, and we need to understand that before the season began, our hopes were super high, even with the horrible quarterback situation. Now, you could say, Smitty, I'm going to deflate your balloon right now and tell you this is why I'm not on board. Smitty, we're going to totally, I'm going to wait until there's a quarterback. Everyone's going to comment this in the comments. Not everybody, but 2 or 3 Bobs are going to come in and go, Smitty, until I know it's quarterback. Good for you. Good for you. You want to wait until they have a quarterback and then you got to pay top dollar? Go for it, Bob. I don't care about, we don't know who's quarterback. Get some balls. Put it on the table, bro. Try and figure out how you're going to take risks in fantasy football. You got to try and see things before they come. That's what this channel's for. I'm not here to tell you what to do after something great happens. I'm trying to tell you to do something before the great thing happens so you can take advantage of it. When everybody was saying we don't know where Zach Robinson's going to go, what if Zach Robinson doesn't land at Atlanta? What did your boy tell you? I was here for about 48 hours straight telling you it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Zach Robinson's a lock for this Atlanta situation. Why? Because Raheem Morris, his counterpart in LA, is going to bring him over. And why in the hell would Zach Robinson want to go anywhere else when he could go be OC for someone he knows their defense will be cohesive with the offense, somebody he knows won't give up on him, somebody he knows that will enable him, somebody he knows that will give him everything he wants, and he can be upfront and honest to say, you give me full control, give me carte blanche, everything. I want all control. He knows what he's getting. He can't go somewhere else where he's handed a quarterback, handed unknown, doesn't have the rapport with the coaching staff. This is the LA Rams coaching staff minus the head coach Sean McVay, who was left in LA. Now LA will be fine because McVay is the coaching tree marvel. He's the one that created this little offspring of Zach Robinson and Raheem Morris. And Raheem Morris was in the league before, but he was cultivated in the system for 3 years. He's come into his own. And this staff went to bat for Raheem Morris. So if you come in and run your mouth about Raheem Morris being a bad option and why did they do this? This is why the Falcons are the Falcons. Twitter was full, X was full of people just running their mouth about how this was the dumbest signing. This is why the Falcons are the Falcons. This was an unbelievable signing. Bringing in Raheem Morris as new head coach of the Falcons is unbelievable. It is potentially as impacting as DeMeco Ryans in Houston. And because of Zach Robinson, everything that this guy brings to the table gets amplified. DeMeco's not the offensive mind. He's not. It's Slowick. And Slowick on today's news was brought back to Houston, which is great news for Stroud, Tank Dell, Nico Collins, and the future RB, whether it's Derrick Henry, whether it's Barkley, whoever the Houston Texans bring in. And you almost know damn well, Jacobs maybe, you almost know damn well the Texans and the Ravens are two front-runner teams to bring in Barkley, front-runner teams to bring in Henry, front-runner teams to bring in Jacobs. The Ravens are going to want to solve that problem. The Ravens fell this short to going to the big game, and they want to maybe solve that problem, right? What could solve that problem? Let's get a workhorse running back in there. Well, why don't we draft a young rookie? You don't need to because the running backs don't get paid in the NFL. Going and getting a Barkley is not that expensive at all. So Barkley's going to be on the radar of the Texans, And Slowick is and Ryan, D'Amico Ryan's together is fantastic. And my whole point is the Zach Robinson, Raheem Morris combination is very similar to that. The blueprint's there. The blueprint is there. And with Arthur Smith out of the way, he's in Pittsburgh. Say goodbye to all Pittsburgh Steelers fantasy football players. Say goodbye to them. Say goodbye to Pickens. All the upside, goodbye. That guy won't hang with an Arthur Smith offense. He's going to get unraveled. He's going to go off on Arthur Smith. He's going to be in the doghouse before week 4. Pickens will unravel in that situation. Don't go near the running game. I mean, could Arthur Smith somehow reignite what he did the year prior with Algier? There has been, as we talked about on the 8 p.m. show tonight, success stories of Arthur Smith leading into this past season. But I'm not trusting that man with anything at this point. Just like Bill had success, you're not trusting Bill Belichick right now too much either, are you? Why are we going to trust Arthur Smith? I'm running away from everybody in Pittsburgh. And I'm quietly glad because of, and Ron talked about this, I don't think I'm insulting Ron, because of the way Tomlin is operating, because Tomlin allowed Matt Canada to ruin this team for a long time and before he made a decision to get rid of him. That makes me feel comfortable that if Arthur Smith's got to go somewhere, let him go somewhere where I think people are kind of spiraling out of control anyway. And don't even think about Deontay Johnson having a lick of value, because this man requires 10,000 targets to catch 100 balls, and he ain't getting crap this year. So, maybe the only person that's going to escape this might be, just might be, Jaylen Warren, because Arthur Smith is going to say he's the best goal line back in the National Football League because he's the backup running back. So get ready, buckle up. It's going to be a wild ride in Pittsburgh this year. This right here, Atlanta Falcons situation under the command of new offensive coordinator, quarterback guru, QB coordinator from the LA Rams, the Puka Nacua creator, and he and McVay together, the Rams potent system that could torch anybody. They could torch anybody. Nobody could contain the Rams. I don't care who the Rams played. They were too dynamic of an offense to slow down. There was no way you were worried about the matchup with the Rams. Kyren would run down your throat, which is why Bijan is a Saturn man.
The Saturn men.
One small step for man, one giant leap for Saturn.
This guy under the command, even though Zach Robinson was the QB coordinator, he's still game planning, scripting for this man, Kyren Williams, to catch footballs, to be in the offense, to be running like a monster. And when Zach Robinson is used to one running back being in the system, Kyren Williams, he's planning on having one running back in the system. He's planning on designing runs for that one running back in his system. He's not running multiple running backs. He's not designing passing plays for multiple running backs. He is used to, it's ingrained in him to use one running back. I doubt he goes over to Atlanta and gets handed the running back he sought out to be his running back. He gets handed arguably the best talent in the National Football League, Bijan Robinson, from this moment forward in terms of going into a situation, who's the number one pick at running back. If you're a GM and you've got a clean slate, you've got no team, and you're drafting RBs first, and someone says you got the number one overall pick, what running back are you taking? Of course you look at Hall, of course you look at Gibbs, but if you're building a franchise from the ground up and you've got no players and you're told to draft an RB, you'd be almost nuts not to consider Bijan being the number one or number two overall running back in the National Football League from here go forward in dynasty thought process, from building a franchise thought process. And so this guy walks into a situation where he's used to using one RB, even if it wasn't his choice, which you don't know, I don't know, we all don't know. We weren't a fly on the wall the day they crafted and architected this offense. But you know that he's used to using one running back even in his design passing plays and situations. I love Zach Robinson. And what Zach Robinson does on the ground will only assist the pass. What helps via the pass will only help the run. This will cascade back and forth. Raheem Morris will bring the defensive mindset, and it'll all cascade back and forth. Better defense, better passing game, better running attack. It all feeds into each other. Atlanta's going to the moon. And it does all revolve around the quarterback. And so they have to go get somebody. But I feel very confident in Zach Robinson's ability to recognize what he needs to do, what he did, replicate what he did over in LA. He knows he can't do that with Ritter. He knows he can't do that with a mediocre quarterback. He'll either go identify a rookie he loves that he thinks can be his Matthew Stafford, or he'll go get Russell Wilson, which some might say is not the greatest thing in the world, but it's absolutely 500 times better than anything we've seen in Atlanta yet. So I'd be on board with it if it was the best move, the only move. And it also allowed them to keep this 8 pick and maybe get Neighbors or somebody else like Odunze or offensive line piece, whatever they want to help ensure that what Zach Robinson has in his plan will be elevated and executed upon. This is a man I trust in Zach Robinson. This is a situation I love in this Atlanta Falcons offense. And Drake London is going to go to the freaking moon. Drake London is going to Mars. Drake London is a Mars man.
He's on a shuttle to Mars. Mars man.
Wouldn't shock me if London had... I mean, look at this. Look, 69, 902 for... It wouldn't shock me if he had 11 to 12 touchdowns, 95 receptions, or 100. Let's call it 100. I mean, if he can get 70 receptions in this horrible situation here, it was. Let me see if I can pull up. I think I had it right here. If he can pull in these kind of numbers, like his worst seasons. We'll call his average. Well, his average is 70 receptions, roughly 71 receptions. That's his average, 70.5, whatever. Like if he can get that in the worst of situations, I don't see how 100 is even high. That's like a low number. 100 receptions, 1,200 receiving yards, and we'll call it 10 touchdowns. In my mind, with a great quarterback in the offensive mind, that is Zach Robinson. 1,200 yards, 10 touchdowns, and 100 receptions is the floor for a healthy Drake London. And if Zach Robinson is successful in recreating a lot of what he did in LA over in Atlanta with the new Atlanta Rams, I think you're looking at Puka Nacua, like numbers with the touchdown capability that this guy has. Not saying Puka can't become a consistent 10, 12 touchdown guy, but this guy feels like he is a top 5 or 6 touchdown potential getter in the National Football League. He entered the league that way. He's a go up and get the football 50-50 specialist. He's a dominate the space around him. He's a completely doubted guy right now. And the reason you doubt him is because you've been consistently watching this not go well. You're being brainwashed by recency bias in your own world just by watching Arthur Smith abuse him. You don't trust Drake London. None of us do fully. I don't even trust him as much as I should, and I'm one of his biggest fans right now. I'm merely trying to tell you the instinct you have to run away from this situation is natural. And no one should put all their eggs in one basket anyway, so you don't have to look at it like you're throwing all your teams away if this doesn't work out. His value, he's going to be a tremendous value anyway. Looking at a draft right now, let me go into one of my active drafts. Let me go and see where Drake London is ranking in. Drake London is under Cooper Kupp. He's under Neighbors, Waddle, T. Higgins, Tank Dell. He's at wide receiver. His ADP right now is 50 overall on Underdog Fantasy. We're about to get in a draft right now. On Underdog Fantasy, I got it right here. Why don't I just bring that up? Look at his ADP. Drake London, I'll star him right there. I'll expand him. His ADP is 50 overall. 50 overall. Coming off a 905-yard season. About to be handed Puka Nacua duties, and he's going below Cooper Kupp. He's going below a rookie who I like, but Malik Neighbors. Going over a very disappointing and hard to trust Jalen Waddle. Same thing with T. Higgins. Just above Jaden Reed. Just above Zay Flowers. Just above Pickens, JSN, Addison. This is a tremendous value. Drake London to the moon. The ADP supports it. Everything I'm saying, the risk is baked into the situation completely. I can't imagine another wide receiver that has number one wide receiver ability that you could have later. Look at this list right here. I'm not saying Tank Dell can't be a number one. We love Nico as well. That'll be a debate for the ages, right? But when you look down a little bit past Dell, look how far down Drake London is. He's a handful of spots below him. Look at everybody here. Addison, JSN, George Pickens, Zay Flowers, Jaden Reed, I love a lot too, by the way. Drake London, Cooper Kupp. I like Kupp at a certain point, but he obviously comes with so much risk that he's not a wide receiver one. The only wide receiver one sticking out like a sore thumb is Drake London. He sticks out like a sore thumb. You could literally go 0 wide receiver until pick 50 and draft your number one wide receiver and go balls to the wall crazy. Yeah, I know you're a little bit insane. That's your wide receiver one. You want to try a 0 wide receiver strategy, Drake London is your best chance. He's your best hope. He's your fun, absolute smash of a wide receiver one and the latest wide receiver one I can find. Phone lines are open.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
And let's get into an Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty draft right now. I'm going to drop the promo code right now. Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. They'll double your first deposit up to $100. Hit that link right there if you want to get into this draft here. We'll wait about 2 or 3 minutes. Let me minimize it real quickly. And let me just minimize it a touch right here. I'm in this current draft right now. They have slow drafts. I love doing the slow drafts. The slow drafts are fantastic because they got an 8-hour timer. But go ahead and go to the lobby. Go to the little board, which is, I believe, the very last card. So you're going to swipe through all these cards right here to the very end. Little board, $3 an entry. The Underdog minimum is $10. They'll double your first deposit up to $100 using the link that I just dropped. I'll drop the link again right now in the live chat. There it is again. They'll double your first deposit. So the minimum's $10. You do $20, they'll give you $20. You do $100, they'll give you $100. You do the minimum $10, a measly $10, they'll give you $10, and you'll have $20 to then draft a handful of these $3 teams, a couple $5 teams, whatever you want to do with it. But make sure you go over to the link that I just dropped. It's in the description of the video if anybody's watching a replay and you don't have access to the live chat link that I just dropped. Go to the description. Use code Smitty, and I'm just going to click on it. Click the green button now if you want to jump into this draft with me. Click the green button now. I'm going to wait 10 seconds because there's a 10-second YouTube delay. Drake London to the freaking moon. And nobody in this draft take him in the second round after we just had that conversation. Like use some common sense to make sure you get good value. 10 more spots to fill, so we should all be able to jump into this one together. 9 more spots to fill, 8 more spots to fill. You can see these spots fill up like crazy. Travis, you are live, young man. No need to agree just because of the topic is unveiling a Mars man. But what do you think about Drake London right now? Drake London.
No, I've been waiting for us to do some talk on Drake London because he's one of my favorite receivers, so I think he just got a raw deal past couple of years, actually. What I was going to say was, personally, I'm excited because I have him on my I only have one dynasty team, like I said last year, my first year, but I've got him, Puka, and I have the first overall pick, too, so I could take Harrison if I want to and have those 3, so I'm looking forward to that.
But I really do think that when you're in a position to wait on a wide receiver, and some people feel so uncomfortable waiting on a wide receiver one. It's just, especially in best ball, like people make fun of you if you don't go heavy wide receiver. Or in dynasty, if you don't go heavy wide receiver, people actually like, how do you not go heavy wide receiver in a dynasty? Because there's certain strategies that fit and certain strategies that don't fit with the flow of a draft, That's why I always say best player available. I can find no other player on this list of wide receivers that feels more top 5 to 10. And I want to throw top 5 in there. Top 5 to 10, big range. top 5 to 10 capable. I can find no wide receiver, and let me sort it by wide receiver because this is going to be the full list. No one on here. You can't even see him. He's a whole scroll below. No one on here has top 5 to 10 upside that I can find later than Drake London. Like if I scroll here,
Right.
Devontae Adams, DK Metcalf, Marvin Harrison Jr., Olave, Pittman, Evans, Devonta Smith, Keenan Allen, Tank Dell, Higgins. It's crazy. Like Cooper Kupp, Drake London. He's all the way down here. Let me just show everybody. See, I start him right there, and I'll even expand him. So I've expanded him here. Look how many wide receivers are in front of him. So when I say he's wide receiver 1 capable, I'm not picking wide receiver 13 and saying, hey, he could be wide receiver 1 capable. Well, sure. 12 wide receivers are wide receiver 1 capable. Number 1 is an elite wide receiver 1. Number 12 is a low-end wide receiver 1. I'm literally saying, and how many wide receivers are showing here? Debo, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Debo, so you see 11 players on screen right there. He's 20. Let's see, does it tell me what wide receiver he is? Wide receiver 29. It tells you right there. Wide receiver 29. So when I say he's 5 to 10 capable and he's wide receiver 29, that the risk is all baked in. If I'm wrong, he's earning you this value. If I'm dead wrong on this Marsman prediction, and assuming he doesn't suffer a season-ending injury in week 3, which we can't control, if I'm wrong on this and he plays 17 games, you're getting probably more than your value back still. I won't even feel bad for anybody. If let's say he doesn't become a wide receiver 1, I'll lose 0 winks of sleep because everybody's getting. It's like putting $10 down on red. The ball bouncing around and hits black, and then they give you your $10 back. Like that's what this is. You draft Drake London as wide receiver 25 to 29. Doesn't matter what you're doing. You're getting exactly back what you put in. And if you land it, you're winning leagues.
Yeah, and like you were saying about the quarterback situation, could be wrong, but I feel like the worst that happens is like a Russell Wilson type, and I think he can support him.
Roger.
And then if they were to bring in like a Penix or something, it's not like Carolina where there's no weapons there, there's nothing built around them. That team is ready-made for a quarterback. They have the weapons. They have a good defense. So.
Roger says if Atlanta gets a QB, we will talk.
This is what I was talking about earlier. Roger, no, we won't, because he'll no longer be of value. Roger, that's what I'm talking about. Roger, this is what I said earlier. Someone's going to come in. Here we are. No offense, Roger. But
Smitty, once they get a quarterback, then we'll go all in.
like, that's the whole point. That's why we're here. You know what I heard earlier, Roger?
Once Zach Robinson officially becomes the OC, because he might not be, then we'll be excited about Bijan.
You play this late. You can't be scared. Scared money don't make money, Roger. Scared money don't make money. I still appreciate you, but
yeah,
this is what
you have to assume they're going to get a quarterback.
That's the name of the game. Like, hey, let's wait and see if you can't. Why don't we wait and see if Aaron Rodgers stays healthy all year long before we then buy into Garrett Wilson this year? Let's get in a time machine after, come back and then draft. You know what I'm saying?
I guess my question to him would be, what does he think they're going to do at quarterback? So is he's not even looking at him, just has blinders on until they get it and then he addresses it? Or is he assuming, they're not going to get someone, it's going to be a disaster? Because unless they're incompetent, they're going to get somebody.
Oh, look at DeBalt. DeBalt's he's on the phone line and he's in this draft. You're messing with Breece Hall's ADP there, DeBalt. Christian McCaffrey goes number 2 overall because DeBalt's in the draft and he took Breece Hall. That's all right. Walk us through it there, DeBalt.
I'm gonna take Breece, of course. He's gonna be RB1.
I mean, I can't get mad at you. I just don't be taking Drake London in the second round now. All of a sudden,
We we definitely affected the ADPs last year.
Yeah. I mean, we affected ADPs last year in a lot of ways that were warranted, and like we looked like geniuses, and we affected ADPs in a lot of ways where it didn't work out. Like that's the nature of it. That's what I'm telling Roger. Scared money don't make money. Like Bijan Robinson, we had a heavy hand in him. If I had to really be honest, I'm not even trying to boast our power and reach here as a community, because we draft so much in mock drafts and in best ball. But like we had to have moved Bijan, our community alone had to have moved Bijan up at least one draft slot minimum. I'm going to go Kyron because he's 7 feet tall. And I'm going to go, man. How do you feel about Garrett Wilson this year? Like, it's so tough because
I love him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else I would do here. I don't want to reach on anybody. I'm just gonna go Garrett Wilson. I'm gonna get a balanced attack here because best player available allows me to have a balanced attack. But
don't you have to assume Rodgers is healthy?
Yeah, same thing.
By the time the season starts.
Yeah, same thing I was telling Roger earlier. Like you can't wait and see. Yeah. But I was curious how you felt. What's great about London and Garrett Wilson is that the disappointment was so heavy and real that it's gonna affect people. Like you're gonna naturally look at Garrett Wilson and go, I don't know. Even if you believe in Aaron Rodgers, he looks great. It's gonna take like a bunch of touchdown practice missiles where the two are connecting again for people to be like, okay, Garrett Wilson's back. But because it was such a traumatic thing to watch Bijan get misused and to watch Garrett Wilson not have the support he needed. So it's naturally you're building in like Garrett Wilson there. I felt like it wasn't a big reach because his ADP was right around there, but I have a feeling you're gonna see him not climb unless there's some touchdown connections going on between the two again really soon. Like you're gonna see him, I think, linger and maybe even fall. I think some people will climb before Garrett Wilson climbs into like the 8 to 12 range again. He's naturally protected into a traumatic territory where people are just not probably going to move him up. They'll most likely move him down. But we'll see. I like the balanced approach so far of my squad. The Bijan Nico's tough because I love Nico, but I don't know that I can put him in the second round. I like him. I'd just rather take Tank Dell in 4 or 5 than take Nico in 2. I don't hate Nico in 2, but I don't like the strength of my team. It feels a little bit I don't know, how should I say, light with Nico in that second draft slot. It's not about Nico. Nico could absolutely ball out, but I just think that putting him in the second round slot's really tough. Or at least like if you did the 2-3 turn, it'd be different maybe. But right there at the beginning of round 2, I don't hate it. I'm not ripping on it. I just don't know that I love the pick.
Yeah, just compared to what else you could grab there, I suppose. The one other thing I was going to say, and then I'll let the Vault and whoever else is on the line, I'll shut up and let them talk. Earlier tonight on the earlier show, I forget who it was, super chatted in about making a trade for London, and he traded. It was for T. Higgins and some picks or something for London. And I would tell people, if you can get a trade like that done, like go and explore something like that, because there's a lot of people right now that'll look at that and be trying to get rid of London.
Yeah.
Our community is trying to get him. And a lot of people look at London and go, oh, he only had 2 touchdowns last year. Like, that's not doing anything for me. And they don't have a quarterback, and so you can get him at a value right now.
Oh, man. Perps dropped $100 holler. I got to fire off the boss horn. Hold on.
Oh, boy.
So anybody that doesn't know the boss horn, once it strikes 11 p.m. Eastern, I can no longer do the boss horn after 11 p.m. Eastern for $20. I convinced Miss Smitty to accept $100 hollers and that she's just going to have to be fine with it. She said only if I upgrade her iPhone. And so I'm giving her an upgrade from, I think she's got like a 12 or 13, iPhone 13. She wants the brand new, what is it, 15? The brand new 15 upgrade. And she says it has to be $100 holler. If she hears the horn, she needs to know, okay, I know what's going on. So Perp said, let's do it. Perp said, let's do it live. I'm almost on the clock, but let's go ahead and do this first. Hold on 1 second, guys. 1 second. Here we go.
Alert. Super chat alert.
Parks, appreciate you. Can you believe Denny almost world's...
Alert. Super chat alert.
Please protect me. Miss Smitty said she's good with it, but we wonder if she will be. Oh, man. It's so late. Doing that feels so much louder when we do it late. Okay, real quickly, DeBalt, because I'm going to be on the clock in a second, so I just need a 1 second explanation. Why'd you take Tank Dell at the 2.12? Again, understand, none of these things are me saying I don't love Breece Hall. You know how much I love Breece Hall. But you took Breece Hall at 1. I know you want to get your guys, but Tank Dell's like, I want to say like almost a 4th rounder, and we're feeling. I know you won't get him. I know you won't get him back, but that's, you gotta be careful not to f up the ADP too much. But go ahead, explain.
Considering what I saw available, and how much longer it was until I got my turn back, I don't think he would have lasted coming back to me.
How far down was he when you were picking him though? Was it at least like 10 spots, 12? Like what was it?
Yeah, he was far down.
Yeah,
I was actually hoping to get Marvin Harrison and Devontae Smith. That's who I was targeting.
So,
but you got Marvin Harrison before I can, so I had to make a pivot.
I got Marvin Harrison. I got Garrett Wilson.
You got Garrett Wilson?
Yeah, I'm at the far end of the draft.
Somebody got Marvin Harrison.
I got Kyron and Garrett Wilson. All right, hold on 1 second. So I'm on the clock here.
Yep.
Now, London is actually quite a ways down. Hold on a second. I'm going to time out. I guess I'll go, dang it, I'll go Laporta. Okay, because I was going to time out. I'll go Laporta. So right now I've got Kyron, Garrett Wilson, Laporta. I could go QB, or I could take... I don't like these players. I could take London. I could take London here. He's a little bit down there, though. This is a reach, but man, I'm kind of doing what I just yelled at the Bolt about. He was a little bit down there, but I too would not come back and get him. And I was timing out, but I didn't know that there weren't any players. I don't want Pittman here. I know a lot of people love Pittman. I'm kind of waiting to see on Pittman. Keenan Allen's too old. T. Higgins, Cooper. None of those guys excite me at this stage. Mike Evans, he's older. I don't know. James Cook, I don't trust. So like literally this entire list, Drake London was the best player available. So I just took him. But yeah. I feel good about that.
Sometimes you have to do that. Yeah.
And I think not to try and yell at you, DeBalt, about it. And I'm not really yelling at you. I'm just kind of feeling you out. But then do it myself. But like the later you do it, the less impacting it is too. But just be. You know what my advice would be, DeBalt? My advice to you would be though is I know you're looking at this and you're saying, hey, I'll never get him back though. Tank Dell is not going to be there. I would just say use this as an opportunity to not draft Tank Dell. Because you're gonna, if he gets hurt, you're gonna have all your, you know what I mean? Like you want to have that diversification. And even looking back to a lot of my Bijan teams, when I took Bijan at 3 overall, when he was probably falling to 7 every time, 6, 7, if I had any regrets on my best ball teams, and I did really well. I had a couple teams in the final. I got into the 30s, and I did really well in best ball this year. I didn't win, but I was in the running the entire way, and I finished really high. Got some good cash. But if I had any regrets, if I felt like I could have opened the door to more money or a few bigger wins, it would be that when I didn't need, if you do enough best ball drafts, stick to the ADPs as much as you can within wiggle room. Not saying draft like a robot. I'm just saying when I took Bijan at 2 and 3 when he was going at 6, I should have just I was doing so many drafts that I had the 6 pick a lot. Especially when I did slow drafts, you can click when you're going into a draft, you can click the 30-second timer or the 8-hour timer. I literally had like 20 drafts going at all times. I had the 6 pick, the 7 pick, the 5 pick, the 8 pick, the 9 pick. probably in 5 or 6 of the drafts that were always on the board, meaning I had Bijan in every one of those teams. But instead, I kept drafting Bijan with the teams with the 3 pick and the 4 pick. And all I'm saying is, if you're going to draft enough, if you're drafting one team, it makes sense. But if you're going to draft a lot, use this opportunity to diversify, because you're going to be taking Tank Dell in so many drafts, bro. If you love him at 12, you're not going to be able to resist him at the end of the 3rd round. You know what I mean? Just a little bit of
I use this draft. I just, how to say, I'm experimenting.
Yeah. No, that's fine. You didn't do anything wrong. I'm just saying, especially anybody listening, I'm admitting my own fault. My own fault last year was to not allow myself diversification when it made sense to. You know what I mean? Like, why force somebody like Bijan last year? Why force him at 3? It's one thing to play in 3 buddy leagues redraft. I'll force it all day long, bro. I'll take Bijan or whoever I got to take to make sure I get him. But when you do, and not everybody does hundreds of drafts, but if you do 50, 25, 100, me, I do hundreds. If I do hundreds of drafts, why in the hell am I not taking JJ, even though he got hurt, but just as an example, every time I got that, that 2 pick or whatever, why am I not taking more CMC in the 1 pick versus getting ballsy and occasionally mixing that up and just saying, I want Bijan on this team, I got to take it. That's the one regret I have, and the one piece of advice that I self-reflect on, because we all make mistakes, we all learn, we all grow, and best ball, you're constantly going to grow. Everybody acts like they have all the answers with best ball, or they have the formula. The winners 2 years ago, the data says to do this. You know what's crazy about data Donnies that use just data to draft based on last year is they don't know, as the positions evolve, as there's more deep sleepers, and it all comes down to what you think. If you have some guys you've identified as the next Puka Nakuas, then you are a candidate to maybe not go heavy wide receiver, even if the data tells you heavy wide receiver won last year. Well, what won last year won't necessarily win this year. You need to draft the best team you can possibly draft. You also need to say to yourself at every pick, can this pick win me the league? Can this player outperform his ADP more than any other player that's on the board right now? Mixed with, do they have the highest floor in case things go awry? And I would just say Tank Dell in the 2nd round doesn't carry a lot of that. It's more risky than it is upside, even though we love him. He's going around 3-4, so I would just leave him there and go in a different direction. Like, you could have got, Achan. You could have got, something like that.
Yeah, a lot of the teams that I won money on last year had Tank Dell, Jay Reed, and then at tight end it was like Laporta, McBride, or I'd grab Andrews early and then take Likely later.
Yeah, don't take it as a negative to the ball. I'm just giving you like a little advice
not at all.
That I screwed up myself last year. You know what I mean?
I never draft the same. If there's certain times where I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna play hero RB if I can get to this guy. But like me, I'm a risk. I am a risk taker. I'm the guy who in a startup took AR5 in the third round.
Yeah. Hey,
I took him in the 3rd round. So
yeah,
I take those risks.
But try not to take risks, bro, when you don't need to take them. You know what I mean? That's the person that wins. The person that wins 9 times out of 10 in the same league every year is not the guy that's going, I'm going to take AR5 in the 3rd round. You say you took him in the 3rd round last year?
Yeah, but it's super flex. It was my dynasty team.
Oh, well, he was okay. But what all I'm saying is if you're thinking of taking somebody way early, like, you're gonna miss that more times than not if you're doing something crazy out of pocket. But like, if you're disciplined and you just do enough drafts, you don't even let it bother you anymore. I did with Bijan last year. I just wanted him in so many leagues because I truly believe in his talent. That I even though like I said, I did very well in best ball. I feel like I had a very successful season. But I just think I wonder what I would have done if I had 18 more teams that made it to the finals instead of the ones that, just because I got smarter about not trying to just get my guys at all costs. Diversifying is phenomenal. Diversifying is the best thing you can do. Okay, here's my team so far. At the turn picks here. Let me go back over. At the 60 pick, I took Ramondre Stevenson. I don't know if you want to speak to this real quickly on like a sentence or two. Travis, are you excited about his bounce back potential? Like, what are you hearing? What are you feeling? You're a big New England Patriot fan. Does it sound like this guy's going to be, like, what are you hearing? Like, are you hearing anything? Any buzz, any chatter?
I can keep it pretty short. If the right pieces are around, Ramondra's good. I think he's healthy now. If they can build a lineup and, do all right at quarterback, he'll be fine. But right now, what I'm hearing is that a lot of people around the league have no idea what they're doing on offense and about their offensive coordinator. So that scares me a little bit. Now, that could all change in a week. But
yeah,
now, nothing is coming out about what their plan is.
The reason I like Ramondre, though, is I feel like, kind of like with London, that the risk is baked in. I think that with his PPR ability, I think he earns this 60 overall value pretty easily.
And on a bad team, which they will be, he's going to get the touches.
I think Ramondre could be a revenge tour candidate. I love Ramondre. He's been a show favorite for a while. He was one of my favorite rookies when he was a rookie. Preseason, scored a couple touchdowns. Looked really good, and then, it wasn't until the next year he did phenomenal. But I really like Ramondre, and with this build that I have going on here, I had to take kind of a risk with this running back spot. So I went AR5, Kyron, Ramondre, Garrett Wilson, Drake London, Laporta. I feel like it's a pretty decent team. Yeah. I like it.
I like him as a second or third best ball running back for sure.
Yeah. Oh, Perp's dropping did Perps drop another one? Perps dropped another one.
Oh boy.
Let's try and do that.
Smitty's gonna get her iPhone.
Her headphones are good. This pay for her headphones, Perps. Thank you. Hold on. Miss Smitty deserves an upgrade to the Pro Max. Here's a little extra for her patience and willingness to allow Smitty to be. Thank you, pal. Smitty, we don't have the one and only Smitty. Thank you, Perps. Appreciate you. Perps to the moon. Perps, let me make this pick real quick. I'm on the clock. Look at Najee. I'm not going near him now. I may have been tempted. I'm not going near Najee. I'm just not. I don't know what to do here. This drop off. This is a crazy drop off in talent. Like, I'm trying to even find two players I like. I guess Swift's okay. DeAndre Swift is a pretty decent. Hawkinson this late is kind of intriguing. I know he's coming off that ACL, but like maybe in best ball that's okay because I've got Laporta.
McBride's gone, right?
Oh, I forgot about how late he's ranked.
Because he was going really late. Yeah.
I'm just gonna go Hawkinson, and that might serve me good during the middle of the year. You know what I'm saying? All right, here, let me hit this real quick. Yeah. Perps with another.
Alert. Super chat alert. Alert. Super chat alert.
This one goes out to Perps. $100 holler. We're doing the double toots now. We're not holding back. It's not a one toot. It's two toots. You get $20 holler, $100 holler. Whenever I'm tooting, we're tooting twice. Anyway, Perps, appreciate you. Perps to the moon. I think we might have a couple other super chats here. Al Lancaster says. What did Al say? Al, appreciate you. Al says, mark my words, Saquon is a Bronco, and it will be sad. That's definitely a possibility. But what I kind of envision, and again, logic is not always at play, so you could be 100% right. I'm not shooting down your idea. Denver's certainly one of the potential landing spots. But if it's me, I'm looking at Barkley going to a young Houston Texans team. And if I'm going to get in Barkley's head psychologically, if I'm going to use the psychology degree, I'm going to say Barkley wants to fit in with a young team because he believes his career is just getting started. And every running back thinks that of himself. Eckler thought before the season started he had 5 years left. He's like, I could play for 4 or 5 more years. I want my 4 or 5 year contract extension. And the Chargers were like, we're not giving you anything. And he was so shocked. He was so bent out of shape. He's like, I'm different. I don't care about what people say about RBs. I'm different. You're not different. No one's different. Not when you've been a workhorse your entire career. It's different when Raheem Mostert's 31 years old but has not been a workhorse his entire career. Yeah, he can have a one-off season. But a guy like Eckler, a guy like CMC, a guy like Aaron Jones, a guy like Alvin Kamara, anybody that's been a workhorse their entire career, when you hit 28 years old, it is holding your breath time. And only Derrick Henry has defied it, and nobody should expect that to change or open any doors or wormholes for that to happen again. He's an outlier beyond outliers. And Christian McCaffrey's the only one that we're literally going, no matter what, we're all in for one more year, but just diversify. Don't take him in every league. Take him in one league. Make sure you've got your share of Christian McCaffrey in case he does the unthinkable for one more year. But it's so funny because people that don't understand the facts behind aging running backs is that 28 is a gamble. Like, it's not a lock. I know, especially like a Niner fan will say, no, McCaffrey takes care of his body. Most common thing you'll hear, he'll be fine for another 2 or 3 years. Like, that's oblivious. If you even say the word 3 years, you're oblivious to whether Christian McCaffrey is going to ever get hurt again. Just straight up oblivious. If you say 1, maybe 2, look, I get it, and it's possible. I mean, Derrick Henry's proving it's a possibility. But that's all it is. It's a hope, a glimmer of hope. And then you mix in that McCaffrey had a string of injuries. It's a 1, maybe 2 year situation for McCaffrey if you are lucky. But, back to my point. I know I went off on a crazy tangent. I think Barkley believes he's got this, long career ahead of him. I believe Barkley feels like he's wasted a lot of his younger years. I believe Barkley, like a divorcee at 32 years old, says, I got a whole second life to live. This man has been mistreated like he was in a bad relationship. He wants to go, assuming right now he's wanting to stay and take more abuse. But he's been mistreated in this relationship. He hasn't been fed properly. And I think he wants to go somewhere where they're doing something for the long term. I feel like Houston is one of those situations. I feel like another landing spot potentially for him could be, quite honestly, the Ravens. I think the Ravens would be a phenomenal landing spot for Saquon Barkley. Houston, Dallas. I think it's one of those 3 teams. Yeah, Chargers. Yeah, because Chargers was the ones I was predicting a month ago. Chargers, Dallas. So four places for me over Denver. Chargers, Dallas, Houston, and what else did I say? Dallas, Houston, Chargers, and hold on, I'm on the clock. And I'm going to time out. No. Chase Brown, I guess?
Oh, the Ravens are the other team.
Oh, Ravens, yeah. That's where I think he's going. One of those 4 teams. I guess I'll go Jameson.
And he turns 27 next week.
Yeah, but and I'm not saying he has a lot of time left either. He has 2 years. But he thinks he's got 5. Like, they all do. I don't blame him. If I was a running back and I was balling out, I'd probably say I'm different too. I'm different. I'm going to go to 35. You're not.
People just
You're
have
not.
to remember. Right. And people have to remember, like, Derrick Henry, he's a freak, his size. And CMC is the most dynamic, talented running back in the league. So they're outliers,
Yeah.
It's
so
very rare that guys can do that.
I think you could say this for all 3 of these guys, really. Baltimore, Chargers, God, why am I keep forgetting them? I'm so tired. Baltimore, Chargers, God, Uh,
Texans and Cowboys.
yeah, Cowboys, Texans, Cowboys, Chargers, Baltimore. Texans, Cowboys, Chargers, Baltimore. I think you could say Texans, Chargers, Cowboys, Baltimore for any one of these three guys. I mean, Henry, the Cowboys, the Chargers, the Texans, the Ravens, absolutely. Jacobs, absolutely. Barkley, absolutely. I could see him in any one of those spots. I think more so than Denver. I don't know why he would choose Denver over any one of those spots, though. You know what I'm saying? I forget who said that. I don't think your take was wrong. Again, logic does not always play into this stuff. Sometimes we're scratching our head, like why no one wanted Lamar. Although now people are going to be like, that's why I don't want Lamar. Lamar failed at the end of the day. Lamar was one of the last 4 teams standing, you know. But
I've heard more Niner fans mostly, but more people say, yep, Lamar is just a running back, which is like the most played out thing.
yeah. Salty says, I'm going to tell you the Chiefs are going to win, and I hate it. I know you don't want me to be that guy, but I have been the channel conspiracy theorist for years. I don't think there's anything wrong with the conspiracy theory that the Chiefs are destined to get calls and such. I mean, it's not scripted, but it's certainly not like, that's not a crazy take that there's going to be some corruption involved or whatever. No doubt. I mean, look, the NFL signed a lucrative licensing agreement with Juice's wife, who does the jackets for Patty Mahomes' wife and for Lautner, and you know, all those custom jackets they made out of jerseys, and she signed a lucrative deal with the NFL. It was all in motion. She even put in the sleeves Super Bowl bound when you rolled them up. So when who was wearing it? Was it Christian McCaffrey's wife? Someone's wife was wearing the jacket, and they walked up to her, and I don't know if it was the girl that made him, and rolled her sleeves up like this, and then on the inside it said Super Bowl bound. It's like, this story's been told for a while. It was seamed into her jacket she made her months ago.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I still am like a little bit sick to my stomach of just the way the Lions let that slip out of their fingertips.
And
you know, I'm not trying to take anything away from the Niner win or anything like that. I know there's some Niner people in here, and you guys, look, if you're on the other side of that, like, I get it. Like, there's bias involved in all angles. Like, if we're on the other side of that, and the Lions came back and won that, and let's say Jahmyr Gibbs caught that tipped ball, and it was or St. Brown. So that ball was tipped up, and St. Brown magically caught it, and Goff, you know, bounced it off the defender's helmet, whatever. We'd be talking about how amazing this team is and all that. So I get it, but I do think Purdy got way too much like hype off of what should have been a 2 INT game, and that catch by Ayuk off that what should have been an interception just turned it all around. And it's like, and again, I'm not saying I don't like Purdy. I'm not saying Purdy's not a good quarterback. He's good. He's just not elite, and he's getting so much hype right now. It's insane. And people look at that commentary as if that's hate. Like, in that, I'm saying he's good. He's a good quarterback.
Yeah.
So is Goff. Goff's a good quarterback. Doesn't mean Goff's elite. You know, Baker was a good quarterback this year. And I'm not saying Purdy isn't better than Goff and Baker. That's not my point either. A Niner fan just hears what they want to hear. I'm just saying, like, Kyler's a good quarterback. Kyler's not elite. Kyler could be. Brock Purdy could be, but neither one. Kyler, like, to say Kyler or Brock, one's better than the other. Like, Brock is being carried in a lot of ways. And if anybody thinks just because he had that great drive at the end of both those games, he wasn't carried to get to that point, that's crazy. Like, this is an amazing team from top to bottom. It's insane to me how much people take that as hatred or hate when you're like, look, no one's saying that he's a mediocre game manager, but in a Shanahan system, you're amplified. Your talents are amplified tremendously. This is the same fan base and team that thought Jimmy Garoppolo was good. And now every single one of the fans will admit he's not. But in the moment, for the years he was there, it was always like the Jimmy hate's unreal. It's like Jimmy Garoppolo was garbage. Jimmy Garoppolo was not even a top 32 NFL quarterback. He wasn't even a top 32 NFL quarterback. And I would get roasted when I would say that. Like, what are you talking about? It's because he looks like he's number 22 in that Niners system. And all I'm saying is Brock Purdy's not quarterback 4 in the NFL. He may be 8 to 12, which is phenomenal. Like, that's a good quarterback. It's crazy to me that people take it as hate. They take it as hate because someone's like, look, you ask me, or you bring it up, or you say it in my presence that he's a top 4 quarterback, and I just, in my opinion, cut him down a size, and it's hatred? It's like, it's not hatred. When have I said he's bad? When have I said he's garbage? You'll never win with him. Never. You can win with Brock Purdy. He's just not elite. He's not an elite quarterback. And it's so funny. What was that guy's name from ESPN? One day before that game, that NFC Championship game, Ryan Clark, he said that, the hardest thing he's had to do all season was pretend Brock Purdy was a top 5 quarterback. Literally, the next game, he folds like a chair because of all the hate and all that. And he goes, Brock Purdy separated himself from all the other quarterbacks. And he listed off Herbert and all these other quarterbacks and put them right up there, like in the top 4 or 5. After one game, it was crazy. Like, he folded like a chair. It was insane. It was absolutely. What's up, Double A? You're live.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm good, bro.
I was thinking about that comment that you made about that jacket. I think that was Kyle Juszczyk's wife.
Yeah, Juice.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Juice. I was just driving home, catching. I just walked in the door. I was listening to you talk about the game. I know Campbell takes a lot of heat for that, but I went back and watched that game last night again. There's like 8 just absolutely atrocious errors on the Lions side. I know Campbell's going to take a lot of heat for the way he managed those last 90 seconds, but looking back on it, you have Reynolds dropping that 4th down in the 3rd quarter, 7 minutes left, that gets him onto the 20-yard line. At the very least, they're going to come up with a field goal. It would have been 27-10. Not long after that, you just talked about it. There's that. I don't know how that happens, where a ball misses a defensive back's hands like it's a gift. Ronaldo heads the ball into the air straight to Ayuk. They score right. He doesn't even knock it down. He would have been better off getting out of the way. Turns around, then it's 24-17 after the pass to Ayuk. Then Gibbs fumbles, right?
Yeah.
And so now CMC turns around, scores from a 3. It's tied. Reynolds drops another pass that was down on 3rd down, 3rd 10. That would have taken them to the 40. They would have at worst had to punt it. And then I don't know if you remember, right after that, I believe, was when they took that punt into the end zone. When they kicked that ball from the 15, it goes all the way down to the field. They could have stuck him down on the half-yard line. You have to figure their defense played well enough that they could at least flip the field on them, right? Yeah. Then they give up that. They miss when they get Purdy. They have him sacked for a 7 or 8 yard loss, and instead he throws to a wide open Juszczyk sitting there on the end zone. But you have the failed 4th down. Okay, I can give that one to the 49ers played well. And then you got tackled at the 1. I can give that's just the defense. But there's 8 or 9 mistakes right there from Detroit, just eating me. I still can't believe. It was like at the beginning of that 7th minute, they just became a different team.
Well, so my take on it is this. The way I see it is that if you go back and rewatch the game and you just stare at Campbell's face, he looks like a deer in headlights. He looks like a scared a scared kid, his parents are going to find out that, he did something wrong. And they keep like looking at him, and he knows, like, he's nervous. He's looking down, he's pacing. And so my only thing would be this. I don't disagree with really anything you said. I mean, you can second guess everything, and his cojones got him where they are. But at the same time, there is a momentum building, and to not take those points and kick the field goal to sever that momentum, we all knew, we could feel that it was going awry. Like, you can't just continue to go down that. So it's like the moment that ball bounced off the defender and Ayuk caught it, you knew, oh my God, this is over. Like, they had to stop it. They had to sever the momentum, and they didn't. They just let it continue to fester and build. Like, even if you're going for it, you know that the nerves of your own offense are probably going to fail you. You know that the anxiety and adrenaline of the defense is going to fail you. You know that the dumb luck you're having is going to fail you. There's three things right there in my mind that were going against them. Why try it? Why try it? I also blame him. I don't know. There's several things, but regardless, it's, it is what it is. He got his team to an NFC championship game. They were playing way over their head anyway. So I think to blame a guy that shouldn't have been there, like, when he got there, is kind of silly. So I'm not blaming him. I'm just, when I'm critiquing it and just saying to myself, I was rooting for it. I wanted Jahmyr Gibbs, in a Super Bowl. I wanted St. Brown in a Super Bowl. I wanted Sam Laporta in a Super Bowl. I'm not claiming to be a diehard Lions fan. I'm a fantasy football analyst that has diehard, loyalty to the players of the show that we promote. And it was sickening to me. Like, even though I wasn't a diehard fan, I can't imagine what a lifelong Detroit fan was feeling. But because I was sick to my stomach watching that thing unravel, and it's like part of me feels, like I said, I feel so, like, I don't know, it just makes me almost laugh when I see everybody giving Brock all these accolades, and I'm not saying he's not good. It's just crazy to me that everybody's ignoring all the negatives in both of those back-to-back games. If Brock did, I'm just telling you right now, and it is what it is. Like, give Brock Purdy his flowers, because Brock Purdy converted at the end of those final drives in both the Green Bay and the Detroit Lions games. So you have to give him his credit, and that's why I keep saying that, so that people don't think I'm hating. I'm not hating. It just sounds like hate to a Niner fan, because they want me to say he's the next elite Joe Montana. And if I don't say that, I'm hating. But when you think about it, you were on the verge of, if he didn't run that ball against the Green Bay Packers, get that first down, and truly set his team up for a winning opportunity. So, good on him. And the Packers won the game. It'd have been the most embarrassing loss, and you'd be having half the fan base call for Purdy to be replaced. Get Brady back, dude. Guaranteed. And everybody pretending that's not the case is just pretending. And the same thing would have happened against the Lions, because the Lions would have been an embarrassing loss. They shouldn't have been there. They're playing way over their head. They're getting stomped into the ground. And if Brock Purdy didn't, and good on him, he converted. He's showing he's a good quarterback. He can take pressure pretty well too. But he makes a lot of mistakes too. Like, some of those footballs were bad throws. Like, it's
that pass across the middle that got bailed out by, who's that, 15?
Jennings.
That's just criminal.
Yeah, that was a really. I saw an analyst say that was a gutsy performance. He stood in the pocket, took the hit.
No.
He threw a really bad pass that Jennings bailed him out on. Yeah, and so, like,
that's a pick six waiting to happen.
There's, like, if he had lost the Detroit Lions game, Purdy, with the mistakes he made and didn't convert at the end, which he did. Again, kudos on him. That's what makes him good. We'd be still, even off the Lions loss, but the Packer win, Lions loss, talking about maybe 40% of the fan base saying, bring in Brady, what are we doing, how are we going to do? Because I went live at halftime on my Instagram, and I had somebody in my comments say, Smitty, I've been watching you a long time, I appreciate you, I respect your channel, but you need to be honest. What people are talking about that Shanahan was on the hot seat at halftime, you need to come forward with your information. Like, I don't know what he thought he was doing in the comments there, but it was on one of the YouTube channels. I went live for, if that guy's watching, I went live. I don't have to explain myself to him anyway, but I went live on Instagram at halftime, and I was picking apart everything Shanahan was doing, which was nothing, which was taking his foot off the gas at the beginning of games, which he does constantly now. Just like he used to take his foot off the gas at the end of games, now he does it traditionally at the beginning of the game. And, oh God, I'm on a clock. Hold on. Okay, hold on. I need a wide receiver. Let's go with... I'll just take another quarterback. So I went live on IG, and I was watching my comments. I had 170 to 200 people on my live stream that were here for that show, being fed in because their interest in the Niner game. And so it's full of Niner fans, Niner logos, Niner avatars. We are never going to win. We need to fire Shanahan. Shanahan will never win the big game. What are we going to do? And so I said that on a live stream, and like I said, some guy in the comments was like, what do you show me what you're talking about? Show me proof. I don't need to show him anything. I was live on IG. You were there. And everybody was all over the place. And I understand why. Like, I obviously agreed with them, you know, but it was the whole fan base. Nobody was even mad at me when I was spewing out all this. Shanahan continues to just mess it up in the big game. Take his foot off the gas. This is the Lions. No offense to the Lions, but the Lions, if the Lions played the Niners, like even right now, 10 times, the Lions would maybe win 2 games, 2 to 3 games if they're lucky. They win 1, they win 2 maybe, but 2 to 3 games if they're lucky. The Niners are a better team. Shanahan absolutely botched the beginning of that game. And what I always say on Raj's lives is, when I go on the Instagram lives with him and I tell him in his community, you know, they don't always love what I have to say, but I said, if the Niners win, it's the defense picking off an interception at the end of the game, bailing out Shanahan's bad beginning of the game play calling. And it's the Niners, because they're the best team from top to bottom in the NFL. They just wear down their opponent on all sides of the football. By the time they get to the very last, 4 or 5 minutes, it's just that's when they step up. But they carry and save Shanahan. And everybody says Shanahan's a genius. It's like, he's an amazing offensive coordinator, no doubt about it. But his head coaching decisions and his offensive coordinating are 2 different things. And when they win, everybody thinks, oh, well, a lot of that's his OCing that's winning. But his team is carrying him when he makes horrible play calling decisions in the beginning of the game. I don't know if you remember, was it the Green? What was it? What game was it? It was the Raven game, I think, where they didn't run CMC at all. No. Was it the Raven game? I forget what game it was now. But he wasn't running him in the first half at all. And everyone's like, what is he? Raj went live, I went live, and everybody in the comments is like, why? Even C Mac, who goes on Raj's live sometimes with me and Raj, he's very overly optimistic. He never says negative things about the Niners. Even he was like, what is Shanahan doing? Why is he not running Christian McCaffrey in the entire first half? It's just like, it's crazy. But we'll see, man. We'll see who wins.
Definitely seems to be like when it hums, it's just ridiculous. With some, I mean, you think about Juszczyk is your 5th option. That's terrifying. And then even thinking about, then all of a sudden their offense just sputters. Like you said, is he just the great equalizer? Shanahan just like, watch this. I'll keep it close. We'll make it interesting.
Yeah. Well,
we're going to see, though. I think Kansas City's going to be able to get pressure on Purdy. That's where their defense is fast, and they got some bulls up front. But
CMC is going to be the key. Thank you, Perps. Perps says easy to armchair quarterback, buddy. Your take isn't wrong, Smitty. Thank you, Perps. Appreciate you. Look, I don't pretend to think I'm for anybody out there that's mad at my Purdy, Purdy commentary. Like, look, I'm not even saying he can't become elite. I'm just saying he's not elite right now. Like, could he become elite? I don't know that I'm going to bank on him ever being a top 4 quarterback in the National Football League. There's just too many talented QBs. Could there be 8 elite?
I also think he doesn't have to be.
Well, of course that. Yeah,
you know, he really like for
that,
you know what I'm saying. Like they're so loaded.
But that's
he
not
just
what a
doesn't make
Niner.
mistakes.
But that's not what a Niner fan even wants to have a conversation about. You know what I mean? They don't want to hear you say that. To them, that is you spitting all over Purdy. What you just said right there. They get pissed off.
Well, I was about to say what's interesting about this is Purdy is one game away from being on a 30 for 30. You know, from Mr. Irrelevant to winning the Super Bowl. It's like, yeah, I still think we were joking around this at work. I mean, think about the quarterbacks that couldn't make it work in San Francisco. You know, Jimmy G, he couldn't make it work. Who's the kid that's now down in Dallas, who's athletic freak that. And it was like, wow, and now this Mr. Irrelevant, one game away. And I said this at work, I kind of chuckled, like, one win away from being on a 30 for 30. And you could see him work it next week at your local grocery store. You probably wouldn't even recognize him.
So just to clarify for everybody that thinks I'm Purdy hating, I'm not saying he can't be elite one day. I'm not trying to define him right now. I just think when someone puts him on a pedestal and calls him a top 4 quarterback in the National Football League, if you want to say like statistically he was right up there, Smitty had one of those weird crazy years. Yeah, so did Sam Howell. You know, like Sam Howell was a top 5 quarterback for a handful of, you know, like I want to say through the first like 2 months of the season, he was like just bouncing all around inside that territory. Like you can't use statistics to define everything. And what makes me laugh so hard is when somebody says something about like you take Purdy over Josh Allen if you're drafting a team right now without any other players. We're not talking about the Niners fit, the Niners system, the Niners this, the Niners that. We're just saying you're an owner, you're on the clock, you have no players, you're on the clock. Are you taking Purdy over Hurts, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, and a Stroud, and a slew? Obviously Mahomes and like, you really gonna take Brock Purdy over those guys? If your answer is yes, because look where he's at. He's the one in a NFC championship game. He's the one in now a Super Bowl. Of course I would. That's not the measurement of who's a better quarterback. Like, his team goes to the Super Bowl. He doesn't go to the Super Bowl. Trent Dilfer went to the Super Bowl. Like, you know, Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl.
49er fans saying that? 49ers fans think he's a top, like, 4 quarterback in the league?
Yeah.
Oh, God, bro. I get roasted when I go on Raj. When I go on Raj's live stream.
Well, you got to remember, though. Remember, weed is legal in California. You got to remember that.
I go on these live streams and I say it's cute that you guys think that you take Purdy over Josh Allen if you're drafting today for a quarterback. And they're like, And last night I even went on the live and I said, you're telling me that if you had the opportunity to trade Purdy, because they were ripping on Lamar can't win the big game, Purdy can. And I was like, if you could trade Brock Purdy for Lamar right now, you're telling me you wouldn't do it. Raj was like, not even a thought. And like the whole chat, there's 300-400 people are like, Purdy over Lamar. Are you kidding me? Look what Lamar just did. Lamar just lost. He can't win the big game. Purdy's in an entirely different situation. Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl. Like, let's not pretend. And I'm not saying Purdy's not better than Trent Dilfer. I'm merely saying to suggest that Brock Purdy is better than Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, C.J. Stroud, Justin Herbert, Mahomes, like, you know, Josh Allen, like I said, like there's 7 quarterbacks roughly. Like, that's why I call him.
Would you take Justin Fields over him?
No. I mean, I'm not saying I would or wouldn't. I don't think that's a fair question really to even ask.
Or Tua?
No, I would rather Brock Purdy than Tua.
I'm saying.
Yeah, I'd rather Brock Purdy.
I'm saying he's probably in that.
That's me. That's me being supportive of Brock Purdy and saying he's a good quarterback. That's what I'm saying. I listed all those quarterbacks off, and now we're at like QB 8-9. So Brock Purdy is an 8-12 quarterback in the National Football League, which is a stellar thing to have for a team when you have the best offense in the National Football League from top to bottom, defense and offense. Really, you have one of the best teams, and you have a top 8-12 quarterback on top of that. Crazy. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah, somebody said in the comments, he's only, his second year. He could get better, but yeah, wow, top 4. This is what happens when you loosen those drug laws, those recreational drug laws.
But I think you also need to just understand that, like, it's crazy that like Lamar going to the Niners situation in Manning, that you would see a Lamar you've never seen before. It doesn't compute to people that you're taking the person out of the situation they're in. You take Brock Purdy out and put him in Baltimore, he's not going to survive. Like, you take a Lamar and put him in Carolina, he'll get by. They won't win Super Bowls. He'll do it kind of like what Christian McCaffrey did in Carolina. Like, he'll have big games that carry the team on his back. They'll never go anywhere. Hold on a second. I'm drafting.
Yeah, there's definitely a fit that Purdy appears to have. That, because I always think about what if like Aaron Rodgers would have gone to San Francisco. Just make the easy throw. There's so many people that are wide open. Like, watching film, it seems like there's always somebody wide open in that offense. And it's just check down until you find him, and Purdy's usually pretty good about that.
So what I was going to say, though, is if you take, like, Christian McCaffrey was amazing in Carolina, and they couldn't necessarily win. Like, but you saw him amazing. He's always amazing. Always did amazing. JJ, you take JJ, put him anywhere, he'll be amazing. He'll play amazing. If you took Lamar out of Baltimore and put him in Carolina, he'd be amazing. They just wouldn't win. If you took Purdy out of San Francisco and put him in Baltimore, he'd be out of the league in 2 years. Like, that's the nature of an elite quarterback. You take Purdy, put him in Carolina, he's out of the league in 2 years. That makes you not elite. That's what defines elite to me. It doesn't matter where you go. Well, I mean, you win Super Bowls, and everybody always critical of Josh Allen. Like, he's been given what he's been given, and he's doing better than anybody else would in his situation. He can't help that. You think Dan Marino's not better than Brock Purdy? Dan Marino never won a Super Bowl. Like, it's a ridiculous take when you're not taking in all of the different variables. It's ridiculous.
I think you should fly that by those 49er fans one night. Just like, that's why I have Purdy ahead of Dan Marino on my all-time list, and see how far that goes.
I do. But in all fairness, again, though, you asked me, okay, do I like Fields over Purdy? From a fantasy perspective, I think Fields in the right spot. We will 100% have him above Purdy. But right now, we don't know where he is. And if you're talking about NFL, I think there's a valid argument to say Purdy you'd want over Fields. Like, that makes sense. Fields has not proven anything yet. There's upside there. We all hope that he could do well, but he certainly hasn't developed enough to warrant that. I think that decision from an NFL perspective. I think Stroud has. Mm-hmm. I think Burrow has. I don't care if Burrow got, like, a Niner fan would say he got hurt, like, whatever. So did Purdy. Purdy got hurt. I think it's crazy we're even having conversations like Burrow can't even crack the top 4 in a lot of cases. Like, how in the hell you putting Brock Purdy in the top 4? Burrow can't even crack the top 4, or he's right around there. But yeah, Dan Marino it's a depressing thing. I mean, Barry Sanders too. Barry Sanders never. I mean, there's certain players that, like, you can't say Barry Sanders is not as good as Emmitt Smith because of Super Bowl rings. I know everybody wants to define that.
You would ask yourself, what would Barry Sanders do behind that Dallas offensive line with all those other weapons?
Right, and we've always heard that. And part of me thinks that Barry Sanders was benefited from his situation the way that it was. But yeah, I mean, that's definitely a debate as old as time. Is people would say, well, what if you took Barry and put him out? But anyway, it's crazy. It's just crazy though. The amount of hate, the amount of perceived hate you're spitting out when you're just merely saying, yeah, let's cut it back down to size a little bit and just say, bro, he's good. 8 to 12, a lot to work on, a lot of interceptions. Really could have lost both those games, and he's on such a good team. It all worked out. That Ayuk catch was unbelievable luck. Unbelievable. It was almost as if we live in a simulation.
It looked as though the defensive back played volleyball.
Yeah,
I literally just thought, what a beautiful set that was.
But for that throw, in that game, with as bad as Purdy played at the majority of the game, to throw that pass, to throw that bad pass, to have the defender, like you said, volleyball, serve it up, and all of those things to go that way, it was like we're living in a simulation. I thought this can't be real life, because why would all of this happen in a row? It's crazy. And you see Dan Campbell and he just looks like a deer in headlights. And everyone said he was too aggressive in this game because he was, he thinks he's got, the cojones of steel. I think he did all of those moves out of fear. He was so petrified this thing was unraveling. He tried to get bolder because he was scared. That's why he got out coached at the end of the day. He was out coaching first half, then he got petrified and he started getting too aggressive, and he started trying to think too big because he was scared to death to be conservative. It was crazy.
I was wondering if he was worried about how fast the 49ers are capable of scoring too. If he felt like he had they talk about that during the game, like the first team to 30. If he just, because I'm kind of surprised he didn't do it at the first half, and I'm glad he took the field goal, but I was kind of worried that he would have gone for it right then and there, and it was like take the points there, but.
The Niners are the victors. They are in the Super Bowl. There's no taking that away. But they're very lucky to win both those games. They're absolutely.
You're not going to get lucky like that against Kansas City.
Well, I don't know about that, bro. The Niners are so lucky right now to luck out and to listen to the words coming out of my mouth. To luck out and beat the Green Bay Packers the way the game was going. To luck out and beat the Detroit Lions. It doesn't matter. Like, there's a hard-fought win. And to be honest with you, got to give the Niners credit for being clutch enough not to bobble away the opportunity, because not everybody would execute on that luck. They did. The Niners are executing in both those situations. But good God, that was the most luck I've ever seen.
You got to be real careful giving Mahomes any extra tries, extra opportunities, even despite his wide receivers. Like, seeing MVS actually catch a couple passes the other day, I thought, like, what's going on here? This is crazy.
I've never seen the amount of luck in two back-to-back games before. It's crazy. But it is what it is. That's why they play the game. And again, you can only take so much away from the Niners and say that you got to give them credit and say that, that amount of luck, you got to still execute on it all. And they didn't bobble anything, at the end of both those
Definitely
games.
You have to take advantage of your opportunities when you get them, whether you make them or whether they make themselves. But yeah, that's another thing too, is the Lions getting this far with this much youth is terrifying.
Let me see. I got Perps with a couple of super chats here. Hold on one second. He said, Smitty, keeping it real. By the way, previous super chat was 30 minutes ago. Chat convo. Smitty put Fields in San Francisco miles ahead of Turdy Purdy. I don't disagree with that at all. Like that's possible. Like I think if Fields was in San Francisco, they win a Super Bowl. I think Lamar was in San Francisco, they win a Super Bowl. That kind of tells you, like, if you put Purdy in San Francisco, they might win a Super Bowl. So, like, they're all kind of in that conversation. But I agree with you that Fields in the right spot would develop wonderfully. So the question comes back to, do I think Fields is better than Purdy? The reason we don't know is because Fields is not in a good situation to develop properly. So if he gets out of Chicago, where they're not developing him properly, and I want him gone, and they put him in Atlanta with Zach Robinson, who totally created one of the most explosive offenses in LA last year. If you give Fields to Zach Robinson in this situation, I think he develops. So I know everybody thinks everybody's got an opinion, and I don't mind. I'm not saying I'm right, 100% right on anything. I just think that when you ask a question like, is Purdy better than Fields, and Fields better than Purdy, and a Niner fan base hears you pause and say, well, now no, and they're just like they're in stitches, and it's because there's a lot of different angles to look at it. If Fields was developed properly, I believe he's a better quarterback than Purdy by a mile. But he's not developed properly, so Purdy is advanced. Purdy is in a better situation and further along. He's advanced and matured and been catered to and cultivated. Fields has not. Fields has been thrown into the trash can, and he's not been cultivated. Horrible play calling. Coaches don't understand how to use him. He's super talented. Everybody that knows football knows that. They just know he's not ready. He's not ready. He's not. It's crazy. I hope he goes somewhere where they can get the most out of him. Then he will be better than Brock Purdy. But if he doesn't, he's going to waste away, and Fields will be out of the league in 4 or 5 years. Perps, you said that Super Chat was how long ago? I'm trying to find Perps. I'm not sure. He says Smitty keeping it real. By the way, my previous Super Chat was for 30 minutes ago. Chat convo.
He was talking about the armchair quarterback one.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's probably me. I wouldn't shut up. I probably held up the chat there.
Oh, he's fine. Fields is Chicago. Without Fields, Chicago is worse off. I don't disagree with that take on some level, because I think Fields is the best quarterback. I think Fields is better than Caleb. I think Caleb could, maybe, we don't know, develop into a better quarterback than Fields. But if they couldn't develop Fields, what makes me feel confident that the right system and coaching staff's in place to get the most out of Caleb? So part of me wonders if Caleb's just going to look like Bryce Young his first year, and then they turn over the staff, learns a new offense, and they start bringing Caleb up differently. So I don't necessarily disagree with this. I think, but the problem is, if Fields stays, I don't think we can prove this. You know what I mean? Like, as weird as it sounds, and that's why I hesitate with Fields questions, because it's like Fields is better with them, or Chicago's better with them, potentially, but Chicago, is making him look so bad. It doesn't look that way. He needs to get out for this to be proven. You know what I'm saying? He needs to get matured along in Atlanta or somewhere. Washington would be great. Denver would be pretty unusually crazy. There's a lot of places he could go. But unless he gets out and escapes this place where you're right, Perps, I don't know that we see Fields ever develop, because they don't know how to use him. Like, and part of me is like, I don't know. I don't believe in what they're building over there. I admittedly did before the season started, because I had so much faith in Fields, and DJ Moore and together, but they just completely ruined him. Or they're in the process.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Of trying to ruin him. Yeah.
What is the difference between? Do you know the difference between the rookie contract and what they would have to pay Fields? Is it that much different?
2024.
Because the conversation is that he's going to make so much money, we can't afford to keep him. I was wondering, why don't you just take Chicago, move back to 3, pick Marvin Harrison Jr., get yourself another offensive lineman with your second pick, and let's see what we got.
Rookie make. Let me just see what the salary is going to be. The projected contract for the number 1 overall pick in the 2023 draft was estimated around $41 million in total value, with a signing bonus of approximately $26 million. And in 2023, salary cap hit 7. I think the part though is, like, you're getting that. I mean, you're certainly gonna have a good, like, Fields. If Fields was the guy, like, let's say he goes out there and balls out next year, you're paying him $45 to $50 million a year. So to have a $41 million contract with a 5th-year option, it does make a lot of sense to start over.
Oh, he would get. Oh, wow. Okay. So and then you're paying, what's rookie, $850,000 out there?
I don't know what the exact number is, but again, that was 2023 though.
But it's not $40 million.
Yeah, $41 million with a approximate signing bonus of 26, which is a lot of money. But again, Fields would cost you, if he is the guy and he proves it, and then you got to pay it. Like Jordan Love, what do the Green Bay Packers do with Jordan Love? Do they just kind of let it all go one more year, or do they try and sign him now to a long-term deal? And they could have signed him to a very much cheaper long-term deal and given him what would have been considered his bag. He would have been excited about whatever they offered him in a bigger sense. And now they've got to pay through the roof for him. So it'll be interesting what Green Bay how they decide to approach his contract.
Well, then it sounds like it's going to be Caleb, and then what do you think they do with that second one?
I'm hoping that the Washington Commanders, knowing Adam Peters and how amazing he is at talent evaluation, I think they're going to look at JD5, Jaden Daniels.
No, I'm sorry. Chicago's second pick.
Oh, Chicago's. I think Neighbors
if we get away, we bring in Caleb.
Neighbors or Bowers probably if they're available.
What if Bowers and Komet could be a little annoying combo?
I think Bowers is so good. Komet's a bystander at that point. It's kind of like Algier and Bijan should have been. Like it got Algier. Who cares? What are you talking about?
I think.
Apparently we did.
I think Ron Navy was right last night. I'm terrified to think that Atlanta got rid of Arthur Smith, and then Pittsburgh feels like they needed some reason to pick him up.
Yeah, and Perps again with the 20. Perps is a $20 holler. Perps.
Alert. Super chat alert.
Perps, appreciate you. Perps, Fields needs to be moved on. I'm just saying Chicago has only been as competitive as they were with him. Correct, that was what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly. I knew that was what you were probably saying. I was just trying to say that, like, and it sounds like we totally agree on it. Like, yeah, I mean, it sucks because, like I said, when people ask me Fields questions, it sounds wishy-washy to be like, hey, is Fields better than this guy? I'm like, no, but if he gets out of Chicago and develops, then yeah. But we don't know. They might keep him. There's very cryptic message being given off by the organization right now, probably because they're trying to feel out trade offers. They're trying to feel out the fan base of keeping Fields, and they released a tribute video that I would say 60% of the fan base took as we're keeping Fields. It was just it said Justin Fields, or it said JF1, and that's all they put, the 3 letters, JF, and then, well, the 1 emoji. And they dropped this tribute of just nonstop Fields footage. And that's all they dropped on X, formerly Twitter. And you know what I hate about X is you got to say X, formerly Twitter. Because, like, nobody knows what you're saying when you just say the letter X. It's annoying. So whenever I say X, I always say formerly Twitter, or I just say Twitter, X. Like, I now have to say both of them. Like, it sucks. And I almost have OCD with it. Like, I don't like to say things when I don't know if people understand what I'm saying. So if I say, yeah, and then if you look at X what? Smitty, XYZ? You know, like, what are you talking about? So now I have to say 2 things. It's annoying. But on X, aka Twitter, OCD, 40% of the fan base said, like, goodbye Fields, we're getting Caleb, muscle emojis, Caleb's coming, and then 60% was like, Fields is staying, great choice. And it's like, no, we don't know what the Chicago Bears are going to do. The only thing, again, logic does not play in half the time. The only thing I would say is that Chicago will be, in my opinion, stupid. And this goes to what Perps is saying too. They're stupid to get rid of them, but they're also not going to be able to do anything with them. So, like, they're almost stupid if they're looking out for their jobs not to reset the clock, because if you get a rookie QB, no one's likely to fire you if you've got a rookie QB and there's some development or whatever. You're usually given like a couple years to work that out. So I think that, like, if they want job security, it's pretty stupid to keep Fields because you've already screwed it up. But I also feel like they don't know what I think they're smart enough to know they don't know how to develop Fields. I don't know that they know how to develop Caleb, though. I don't know if they, maybe they're going to trade down and take Drake May. Who the hell knows what they're thinking, but because Caleb's a similar quarterback to Fields in some respects, because they're both very mobile, and they don't know how to deal with mobile QBs. So
I think that's what always makes these drafts so fun. Is there's like 8. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Go ahead, I didn't mean to talk over you.
I was just going to say, I think Smitty might have said this last week, even from Fields' stance too. Just out of a confidence and mental standpoint, a fresh start, I think, would be good for Fields.
Yeah,
100%. It feels like it's probably just a situation he can't win. They really just don't have a lot. As far as I thought, their offensive backfield really would have prospered a little bit more. They would have thrown to the running backs a little bit more. They definitely need another weapon to help DJ Moore. That I thought that would be better than it was, but now thinking about it, there's just not a lot of offensive options there. But their defense played better, so they have some pieces. But I bet Caleb will get real frustrated real quick.
Yeah. Robert
When
Kraft.
it comes to Fields, it's kind of easy because you really look at his tenure in Chicago. Has he had one All-Pro lineman? No. Outside of DJ Moore, did he have 1,000-yard receiver? No.
Yeah,
Did he have 1,000?
I'll say, when was the last time they had one? Was that Alshon Jeffrey the last time they had 1,000-yard receiver?
Sounds right, man.
I think so.
Gosh, I'm
Like,
aging
Fields was
myself.
set up for disaster. You know.
Oh,
he was
100
never
it's
given a
almost. I
decent shot.
was going to say this. This is one of the things about the draft that's so fun is that there's like 10 organizations that you just know are going to do it wrong, and unfortunately, it seems like Chicago is one of them. That's like, this is going to be interesting. And if you have, a Raiders fan or Bears fan, you just hold them during April. Just tell them it's going to be okay, because it's not going to be, because they're going to do something nuts.
Hey, boys, I gotta let you go. I'm jumping. Appreciate you all calling in, and let me hit Rock Out real quickly, and then I'll hang up on everybody here. Rock Out. What can I do for you?
Hello?
Yo.
Yeah, what do you think's going to happen with Mike Evans and Pittman during the offseason as far as the teams?
Very good chance they both get franchise tag. Well, I don't know. They probably franchise tag Baker Mayfield, but if they don't franchise tag him, they sign him to a deal, because Baker could get a deal. I could see the team franchise tagging Evans, just because they probably have one more shot in their mind. Like, if they keep it all together. I don't know that they do, but that's the way they're going to feel. But Evans is older, so it is hard to imagine. But, man, he keeps doing it. So, Pittman probably gets franchise tagged, I imagine. I think there's a chance Higgins gets franchise tagged. Pittman gets franchise tagged. A lot of these players get franchise tagged. Well, not a lot of them, but probably three of them. Ridley won't. Yeah. Ridley will be on the move.
Good amount, though.
Ridley will definitely be on the move. As far as the RBs, I mean, Barkley could technically get franchise tagged. I don't think he signed a no franchise tag in his 1 year right size contract that they gave him. They franchise tagged him, and then they gave him a 1 year adjusted deal. And I don't think there was anything in there. I could be wrong on that, but I don't think so. So they technically could franchise tag him again. It's just, it's more expensive, but with running backs, it's such a low amount anyway that I don't know that that's going to be a worry. Usually it's like a significant amount more. I think it's like a 20% increase on the franchise tag amount the next year if you do it back to back. So it's not just a franchise tag when you do a double. It's actually way more. But with the running back salary, that number is not a lot. So you never know. I do think they'll let Barkley go, though. At the end of the day, I don't think they hold him. I think if they were going to hold him on a franchise tag again, they would have signed him to a long-term deal in the offseason if they felt that strongly about him. And it's not like he blew up the league this year. So I don't think I think he goes. Henry's going to be elsewhere. Jacobs will probably be elsewhere. I don't see these running backs getting franchise tagged, I guess. The wide receivers, I think two of them could be. I think Pittman could be. Pittman and Higgins probably will be, and then Evans could be. So no running backs franchise tagged. 2 wide receivers, maybe 3, but probably 2, if I had to guess.
Smitty, real quick, I noticed earlier Superfish was asking, would Henry be any type of fit in Miami?
I think I saw that before. I don't know if that was Superfish that said that last time too, but no, I don't see why you would bring in Henry in Miami. You've already got one of the best running games in the league. Not saying that I believe Mostert will stay healthy, but like his coach is probably going to think he is. He's probably going to think he is. We're looking at the age of decline on running back statistically. Coaches probably are not, and that's just the way the NFL is. And I don't know why you would want to cloudy up that room. I mean, anything's possible. Like, if I was a coach, would I bring Henry in if he was dirt cheap on any team? Sure. Just to get, just on the off chance that he can do it, or there's injuries or whatever. But like, I think that's one of the worst fits probably. I don't know why you want to do that. There's so many other things you could do.
I think
You have no need for it. You have no need for it. Achane and Mostert are all you need.
How about Derrick Henry in Dallas?
Yeah, so the teams we talked about before you called were all three of these RBs, Barkley, Henry, and Jacobs. The landing spots feel all the same. You have Dallas, you have Houston, you have
Baltimore,
and the Chargers.
Yeah, I was listening on the drive home.
Yeah, so all of
the Henry and Dallas would be nice behind that offensive line.
Yeah, equally those are the landing spots for all those guys. I think I can't even like Jacobs in Dallas. How can we say you can't see that? You could see Henry in Dallas. You could see Barkley in Dallas. And the thing that I thought, like this is me being logical but obviously stupid, is I thought KC would look at the rest of their division and conference and go, how do we level up? Bring in DeAndre Hopkins. Who cares? It's nothing. It's chump change at the end of the day, what you're paying Hopkins, at the end of the day. The cap's movable. It's nothing. He's an older player. Like, why would you not do that? Why would you not bring in DeAndre Hopkins? And they didn't, and then I look at Philly and I say, why wouldn't Philly trade for Derrick Henry? Why wouldn't Philly sign DeAndre Hopkins? Why wouldn't the Bengals sign DeAndre Hopkins? Why wouldn't the Bengals bring in, one of these guys that's just sitting there? Nobody does. They don't do it. So, like, I want to say, logically, Dallas is going to say, we need a running back to get over the hump. That's all we need. We just need a workhorse. Saquon Barkley feels like a lock to go to one of those four teams. Baltimore, Dallas, Houston, and Chargers. It feels like a lock to go to one of those, in my opinion. But Dallas,
can you imagine Lamar Jackson with Derrick Henry?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, I'm not saying Henry's got enough left in the tank to be the same guy, but he'll definitely be what they need and be, scary enough to get 2 touchdowns in a game and just kind of be a force or whatever. But I just don't understand. I just don't understand how Dallas, and like I said, I could just be stupid thinking there's logic involved. How does Dallas not sit down in a boardroom and go, guys, let's get Barkley and finish this, Or how the Baltimore Ravens can't say we were a Final Four team and we left it all sitting there because we couldn't do this, we couldn't do that. Let's go get Barkley and finish this. How are you not the Houston Texans going, we are really right at the knocking at the door. We don't need to build. We're not a young team that's got a bright future. We're a team now that is the now. We're ready to win a Super Bowl now. Let's go get Barkley and get it done. And the Chargers, same thing. They could draft Blake Corum in the second round or something like that. But to not go get a workhorse running back for a team that wants to balance out and become they're going to be the Michigan Wolverines. Like they're going to be a Michigan football team. This is going to be a hard-nosed, balanced defense. Herbert doesn't have to do it all, but will be efficient because of that. This is going to be one of those teams. And so, like, how do you not see Barkley or Henry or someone like that, Jacobs, in a Chargers uniform? I don't know. All right, boys, I'm going to let you go. Appreciate you.
You mentioned DeAndre Hopkins, too. Oh, sorry. I was just wondering how Kansas City never got around to picking up Mike Evans.
Same thing. Yeah, it's stupid. It's a stupidity. Yeah. It's crazy. All right, boys, I'll see you. I might go on Rumble for a minute if anybody wants to jump on Rumble. I'm not sure. I might just wait till tomorrow. I haven't done Rumble for a day and a half now, and I feel I don't want to force it, though. I'll just do it I'll do it tomorrow. We'll be on Rumble tomorrow. Yeah. All right, see
you later. Good stuff, Smitty.
See you guys later. Thanks to Perps. Thank you, Rock Out. Appreciate you. Thanks to Perps for dropping all the super chats and wads tonight. Perps to the freaking moon. Lancaster, appreciate you. Perps to the freaking moon. Let's send Perps to Saturn, to be honest. Perps doesn't belong on the moon. Guys are Saturn, man. Honestly, probably need to send him to Neptune at this point. Perps, appreciate you. Guys, emergency live stream. We had to come do it. London is a freaking Mars man.
He's on a shuttle to Mars. Mars men. Loads dropping and spinning aimlessly in space.
See you all tomorrow. Probably do a Rumble show tomorrow, not tonight. I'll see you all later. Appreciate you. Perps to Saturn. Hold on a second. How many people are in here? How many people are in here? 75? Should we do Rumble? Should we do Rumble? What topic would we talk about on Rumble real quickly? Real quickly on Rumble. I'm talking like a 10, 15-minute show max. 10-minute show max. What are we talking about on Rumble? Someone give me a topic on Rumble. Okay, 75 people in here. If we could get the majority of people over to Rumble, we should do it. But what's the topic if we go to Rumble? 66. Whoa, why did we just drop from 75 to 66? What are we doing here? Are we going to do Rumble or not? Here's the Rumble link. Perps says $20 hauler. Okay, Perps is saying he wants it. Oh, Perps, man. Great emergency live stream. It was awesome content. Thank you, Perps. Rumble. Running backs going. I guess we should talk about the free agent running backs. Let's do that. That's a good topic. We already kind of hit it right now, but we could continue on that conversation. So we'll talk about the free agent running backs. Even though we're going to kind of like repeat some of what we just said, it'll be a good topic. And if you guys want to call in again, that we're on the phone line, you can. All right, go over to Rumble. I'll see you there. Rumble, here's the link. Appreciate you. Hit that link right there, rumble.com/the Fantasy Football Show. We're going on Rumble right now. Thank you, Perps. Appreciate you. Perps to Saturn. Freaking Saturn. Perps.